Hey, good morning. Let's talk about a warm-up exercise for dry fire. Anything that I do in the combative realm, pretty much anything that I do in the self-improvement area, I like to warm myself up a little bit before I do it. A good example is like before I read a book. Let's see. This is a pretty good one. Choose Your Story, Change Your Life by Kendra Hall. Before I even read a book, even if I've already been in the middle of reading it, right? I will look at the front, I'll look at the back, I'll go back and revisit like the inside of the front cover. I'll read through that. Same with the back. I'll look at the back, reacquaint myself with Miss Hall. She's a very lovely lady. And then a lot of times I will just go and look at the contents section and just refamiliarize myself and just kind of like, oh yeah, cool, here's where I'm at. Because in all of this stuff, we are also doing everything else that we have to do. It's kind of like a mindful thing where I'm taking a moment and going, let's shift gears. What am I going to be doing now for the next 40 minutes or whatever time I've allotted to this endeavor? Let me become fully engaged with it and let me shift gears and stop thinking about what's for dinner, or I need new tires, or darn it, I forgot to pick the dry cleaning up. Whatever it is, shift out of that gear and shift into this gear. And I hope that makes sense. And I also hope that doesn't get me on a list somewhere for being strangely obsessed with hyper-focusing on the task at hand, but it's just how I'm wired. Let's talk about dry fire. Again, it's just part of the combatives world. You need to dry fire with your weapon system, whatever it's going to be, whether it's the knife, pepper spray, impact weapons. Hard to do with improvised weapons, but I do this exercise where wherever I am, I'm constantly looking at what could I pick up right now and go to work? What could I grab if I had to and start wailing my way out of a problem? And that's kind of hard to do in real time, but everything else, impact weapons, everything, you should be dry firing. You should be practicing with it, right? So when it comes to dry firing with a firearm, this is a Walther in a Dark Star Gear Orion, which is a phenomenal appendix in the waistband concealed carry holster. I live in Idaho, which has constitutional carry. You can carry concealed or you can carry open, doesn't matter. I prefer concealment. It's just what I'm used to. And anytime I'm carrying open, say I'm out on a trail or something of that nature on a hunt, if I'm carrying open, I want some sort of retention. I always get a little weirded out when I see guys carry openly, but there's no retention on their pistol. It just wigs me out. And it's probably an unwarranted fear, but there it is. It's in me. And it's also a vestige of police work. You're always in crowds dealing with people and all this kind of stuff. And you just don't want a pistol that falls out or is easily taken out. Anyway, excellent holsters. Highly recommend these. I'm going to go ahead and extract my pistol. Going to let you see that the magazine is empty. I have taken away the source of ammunition. I'm going to lock the slide back. You can see daylight coming through there. Ron Avery used to refer to this as the throat and the mouth. So you check the throat, nothing in the throat, nothing in the mouth. There's no way this thing can eat. I'm going to look away. Always a good practice. Break, right? A definitive break from the task. Turn back in and lock it back and check one more time just to be 100% sure. And on top of that, there is no ammunition anywhere in this room. This is a cold room. So the closest thing I have to weaponry in here that is, actually I don't. Everything in here is inert. Even my ShivWorks training, push daggers and all that stuff and clinch, everything is inert. I like to keep it that way, one room just designated for that. But I guess the other side of that is in a zombie apocalypse and you're staying in my house, don't run to this room because I guess you just have to jump out the window and hope for the best because you won't have any weapons in here, man. All right, on a serious note, let's get back to work. Here's what I'm gonna do. I have already done a little bit of familiarity with this weapon in that I have checked it. So I've dropped the mag out, I've locked the slide back, I've checked, looked away, checked again. Now I know this thing is good to go. Now what I want to do is I just want to kind of warm my mind and my body up to the task at hand. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to revisit properly gripping. So I want my knuckles for the system that I use, which is DR Middlebrooks Fistfire system for gripping, driving, pointing, all that good stuff. want my knuckles flat across the front strap. The reason for that, if I can get this so you guys can see it, is when I open my hands, they are directly in line with the bore. So I'm basically knife handing the target, right? So flat across there. So when I open my hands, they point straight along the bore line. There's no anything like that or like that. It's like my hand is lined up straight with the bore line, just as if I were going to knife hand, right? And when I grip with the other hand, I do the same thing, so that when I open my hand, it's straight on with the bore line, right? Basically, if I do this and I do everything right, I should make hits wherever I'm looking, which is important if you're running a red dot or hard to see sights, or you've been pepper sprayed or something has happened where your vision is diminished and it's hard for you to really see a good sight picture, but you do know there's a threat there. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to revisit that. And then I'm going to revisit the trigger press. I press the trigger with my finger straight from here down. So whatever that knuckle there is, the last knuckle in the finger, I don't want to curl that in. So I was trained to keep that flat. And maybe that's a vestige from the 1911 days, driving a 1911 for a long time, or a Beretta, but I want that. So that's the motion. So I'll just kind of take a second and just isolate that trigger finger, think about that. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get on the trigger and I'm going to do this. So I'm going to make sure that my finger's not touching the trigger guard anywhere or the frame in any way. I'm off the frame and I am off the trigger guard, and I feel the full face of the trigger. So I can close my eyes and I can feel the full face of the trigger across my fingertip, right? So across the pad of my finger, I can fully feel that trigger. That's a good trigger press. I feel the trigger, everything's good to go. Now, here's what we're gonna do. I am going to now take this pistol through the firing cycle minus the loud bang and explosion that forces ejection extraction, right? I'm just going to come over the top. So I'm going to practice coming over the top, lock the slide to the rear, and drop the mag out. I'm going to look at the mag, I'm going to look at the mag well, and I'm going to bring those two together. My finger is pointing at my pinky, because wherever my pinky is, that's where the mag well is going to be. And I'm going to insert. As soon as I insert, I'm going to roll the pistol into the grip, and with my thumb, I'm going to send the slide forward. All right, now I'm going to do it again. Now for brevity, I'm going to just show you the variations. Going over the top, now I'm going to come in and I'm going to slingshot, right? Drop the mag out, look at the mag well, feed it, send the slide forward, roll back into my grip. Now the third way that I would work the slide is I'm going to grab the front cocking serrations right there, well away from the muzzle, and lock it to the rear, drop the mag out, feed it again, send the slide forward. Now watch, when I turn, I'm rotating right back into my hand, into my firing grip. Now, why would I do over the top, slingshot, front cocking serrations? Why would I do 3 different ways to manipulate the slide? And I'm going to do about, I go by time, not reps. I'll do about 5 minutes on each to warm up. Why would I do that? Because I coach, I instruct others in how to shoot, and therefore my preferred way to do it isn't always going to be the way to do it for everybody that I coach. I need to be well versed in the various ways to manipulate the pistol. Just like for these smaller guns, I'm sure you guys have encountered like the G43s and different guns like that. They're heavily sprung. When you come in here and you feed it, for a guy my size, I'm over 200 pounds and I'm a full-size male, average American size guy, right? I can do this on a 43 and send the slide forward, while my wife and folks with smaller hands cannot. What do we teach them? I'm going to teach them to come in here, feed that thing, and then my pinky's going to go here, and I'm going to stack my thumbs on the slide release right there. So my support hand thumb goes to the slide release, my strong hand thumb or firing side thumb goes on top, and we send it forward, and then get my grip. These are important, right? If you're going to be coaching people, you have to take into account the challenges they're going to face. Not everybody's going to be built like me and have the capabilities that I have. That's why I practice various manipulations. However, if it were up to me and I didn't have to teach, I would pick the one that I'm most comfortable with, the one that I'm fastest with, and most consistent, most robust, and that's the one I would do all the time. I would just do that one. Now, here's the other thing we're going to do, right? Now, I've done it with my right hand. Now I'm going to do it with my left hand. So I'm going to hand off. Everything's the same as I said before. Practicing the grip, practicing the trigger press, nice clean. Yeah, it's just the trigger. That's all I'm feeling. Oh, same thing. I'm going to go through the same process. Slingshot to begin with. Drop that mag out. Feed that mag back in. Let the slide go forward. Come over the top. Lock the slide back. Drop the mag out. Feed the mag back in. Let the slide go forward. Come up to the front cocking serrations. Drop the mag out. Feed the mag back in. Let the slide go forward. Now, for people who don't have an ambi slide release, such as the H&K, the Walther, the M&P, the Glock Gen 5s, if you're running an older pistol or a 1911, 2011 style gun, then you're going to have to manipulate with this. Again, because I have to coach other people who don't have the same pistols that I have, I need to understand what they're going to deal with. Same thing. I'm going to lock the slide back, drop that out, feed that in, come up here with my index finger, right, on my left hand, and make that happen. Now, it's easier if they can't manipulate that, then that's where dummy rounds come in, and then they can just come back up, cycle the action of cycle the slide and let it action forward, and there you have it. Now, to put it all together then, so then I do about 5 minutes with my left hand, I do 5 minutes with my right hand, and then I'm going to put them together. I'm going to drop that mag out, feed it, send it back in, transition to the right hand, drop the mag out, send it forward, transition back to the left hand, drop the mag out, send it forward, transition to the right hand, drop the mag out, send it forward, and then I'm going to do that back and forth numerous times. The final step, final iteration is going to work through the firing cycle of the pistol, and then one hand only, I'm going to drive the pistol out, catch the dot or the sight, see what I need to see, make a good trigger press, bring it back in, transition to the left hand, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the left side, press it out, make a good trigger press, bring it back in, and then transition to the right hand. And that's basically it. That is my warm-up routine for dry fire. I do this with the modern sporting rifle, so if you have an MSR or an AR, AK, anything that is magazine fed where I can action it. The exceptions would be shotguns. You're going to need dummy rounds for those. And revolvers, I guess you could do that. I've never thought about it. If you guys have ever thought about doing that with a revolver, or you have something similar that you do with a revolver where you take yourself through a warm-up. Now, this is something I do before my actual structured dry fire routine. I do this to warm up, get myself in the groove, like this is what we're doing, this is where we are. And I will do this for anywhere from 5 to 15, 20 minutes sometimes to get myself fully in it, in the moment. And then I'll begin my dry fire routine, which is always structured. I chart my dry fire, I log it, just like I would lifting weights, running, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing, whatever I'm doing, I'm going to track it, because what can be tracked can be managed. And also it puts all the responsibility solely on me. If I go to the range and I have a bad day, I can't think, well, man, I've been dry firing. And then I look in my logbook and it's like, well, actually you haven't. Your last dry fire was 2 weeks ago on a Thursday and you cut it short by 20 minutes for whatever reason. So if I track it, I know, like, hey, I've consistently dry fired every day for 10 minutes for the last 4 weeks. Here are my results. Then fast forward, I've dry fired again consistently every day for 20 minutes for the last 4 weeks. And here are my results on the same drills or the same course of fire. Was there a difference, an appreciable difference? Was that time invested worth it or not? And should I have invested that time in other aspects of dry fire or what have you? All right. I hope this helps you guys a little bit. This is kind of my thing. This is how I do it. And props to Super Dave Harrington. He is the one who showed me this as a warm-up. He is the one that stressed to me that dry fire is an athletic activity and you need to treat it as such. It's not just something that you just do willy-nilly. Like, there's nothing wrong with, I know gunsmiths, I know guys that are professional shooters that they just have empty safed guns laying around that they pick up and snap triggers and point and all that good stuff. There is benefit to that, but I do agree with Super Dave. You need to have a structured system just like you would for everything else. You don't go to the weight room without a plan. You don't go out to the field or the track without a plan. You have everything structured. Apply that to your dry fire as well. Hope you guys have a good one. I'll see you on the next one.